There is a lot to update on this Thursday, but we begin with the new image just released by the FBI. It is a person of interest in the assassination of popular conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk. Salt Lake City's FBI posting, "We are asking for the public's help identifying this person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. The number to call, 1-800-CALL-FBI." This latest bit of evidence from investigators who also revealed they've recovered a high-powered rifle near the scene.
The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis.
The targeted attack unfolded in front of an estimated 3,000 people at Utah Valley University on Wednesday, where Kirk was hosting the first stop of a multi-campus fall semester college tour. About 20 minutes in, he was answering a question about mass shootings when a gunman dressed in black fired from a nearby rooftop, striking him and killing him. Kirk was 31 years old, married. He has 2 young children. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist is reporting from Orem, Utah. Also with me, former FBI supervisor and MSNBC national security and intelligence analyst Rob D'Amico, retired U.S. Secret Service supervisory special agent Robert McDonald, and here with me in studio, NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence analyst Tom Winter. Investigators, Tom, say they are confident in their ability to track down the killer. Tell us what information we got from the press conference, and obviously that set of photos, those 2 photos, that may give them that confidence.
Yeah, from that press conference, they explicitly said that they had imagery of this individual in the stairwell arriving at the school. And that appears, based on the photos that we're looking at here now, where they got this information from. It could be a little bit difficult to see it because obviously this is what has been provided to us. It's coming from surveillance camera video, but it does appear to show an individual, particularly that left picture, in the stairwell. They say that he goes to the roof. Obviously, the shooting occurs, and then this person of interest jumps off the roof into a local neighborhood, at some point dumps the gun in a wooded area where they said they recovered it, and is seen in a nearby neighborhood, which they've obviously been canvassing. They've used that neighborhood and cameras there, and these days, anybody with a home, I mean, here in New York City, we don't necessarily have it, although you see them more and more, but anybody with a home really has Ring cameras in a lot of these neighborhoods to track whoever's at your front door or packages or things like that. So that's the type of work that is done in a case like this. We saw it, and I'm not picking this example out of the ether, in the case of the United Healthcare CEO shooting in Brian Thompson, where the NYPD went from building to building, tracking down, okay, we see this person, now they're going here. Can we go to the next building and see if we can find them? Is there a coffee shop that's got a camera facing out? And so that's the type of work that we have here. Been described as a high-powered, bolt-action rifle that's entirely consistent with the type of weapon that would be used in a shooting like this from approximately 200 yards. Somebody would not need a ton of training to be able to fire that round and to be able to do it. There does appear to at least be, based on the images you're looking at there where the shots were fired, there certainly appears to be some sort of planning here that took place. That this would have been somebody who would have known where to set up from a high angle, perhaps familiar with the university. We're going to need to get more details from authorities once they conduct and complete this investigation. I think the most important thing here, they're not acting on a tip. They're not acting on a call alone. They've actually developed real evidence here. The fact that they think that they have a good photo of this person, likely not the only one, is going to be very helpful for them. And they're going to try their best, obviously, to use facial recognition, other technologies to be able to get a name or information, certainly from the weapon as well. That might be helpful, too. So a lot of clues here that authorities have to work with at this hour.
Let me ask you about the picture specifically, Rob, since that's the most recent thing that has come out. And it certainly wouldn't be the first time if there was a phone call or multiple phone calls giving them an idea of who some people think that might be, particularly maybe somebody on campus who may know who that might be. What's the importance of putting this photo out? And why do you think they didn't put it out till now? They didn't put it out at the press conference.
I think they really wanted a vet to see if they could identify the person. Once you put it into the public, you can't undo that. And now you have a bunch of people who are looking for him. This is a very contentious thing. people could think to take things into their own hands in matters of interfering with the investigation. So I think they, wanted to vet to make sure that they had the right person in that photo that they could identify. I think they try to use their systems to try to identify him, their photo facial recognition, to see if they could identify him before, in fact, they went to the public. And then at that point, I think they probably figured out the pictures are not enough granularity to do facial recognition through their systems, that they were going to now ask the public. And the public is a force multiplier. Again, when you look at time frame, if this person was on foot and then went to a vehicle, that's how many hours away, how many, as we saw in the healthcare shooting, states away for when they capture them. So now they've gone to the public. So I think it was a conscious decision. Could we identify him first? The fact that they figured out they couldn't, they then went out to the public.
There's a second part of this, right, Rob? It isn't necessarily just, does he look like someone I know or I have seen around, but you have a shirt that seems to be very specific. You have a type of sunglasses that seem to be perhaps identifiable. You have a hat. So there are other ways in which members of the public may be able to say, oh, look at that. I know that that might be him, right?
Yes. And also, though, now people are looking at their video, and if they had the video on the camera that they thought wasn't important because it was somewhere not during the shooting, and then they see that shirt or those sunglasses or hat and say, wait a second, that's him. It also identifies all these people with Ring cameras, all the businesses that have it, that they're looking through the video and they say, wait a second, that's him. And then they can send it in. So I think it's dual purpose that way.
And let me ask you about now the first big piece that we had of evidence, and that is the weapon, a high-powered bolt-action rifle. What can you tell us about that type of firearm?
Well, I'm hearing it's a bolt-action but magazine-fed, which means there's probably maybe a 5-round magazine, and then you function it by looking at the bolt action. And those are normally hunting rifles or older weapons.
We are following that other big breaking news story today, the manhunt in Utah after conservative political activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in broad daylight. Today, investigators are on the roof of the building where a suspect fired a single deadly shot yesterday, killing the 31-year-old Trump ally and co-founder of Turning Point USA as he was fielding questions from a crowd at Utah Valley University. The governor calling yesterday's college campus attack an assassination. Authorities in Utah just moments ago suggesting they have new leads about the shooter.
We have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints.
Suspect blended in well with a college institution. We're not releasing many details right now, and we will soon. But right now we're not. But that individual appears to be of college age.
Charlie Kirk was instrumental in cultivating support for the MAGA movement, specifically driving up support for President Trump among younger demographics that Republicans had struggled with in recent years. Let's go to NBC's Aaron Gilchrist on the scene in Utah for us. Monica Alba is back with us from Washington, and we are also joined by former D.C. Chief of Homeland Security and Intelligence, Danelle Harvin. Aaron, what more did we learn about the investigation and the ongoing manhunt?
Well, Anna, we learned from investigative leaders here that they are starting to pull together the elements that they will need to be able to track down the suspect in this shooting. We heard from the head of the Department of Public Safety here in Utah, the state police effectively, and the leader of the FBI office in this area. And they did indicate that they've been able to look at, for example, video from homes in a neighborhood surrounding the university, the neighborhood where they believe the shooter ran after the incident yesterday afternoon. And they say that they've been able to start collecting footage to see someone that they believe is the person that they're looking for in this case. At the same time, as you noted, we know that they've also been able to recover a rifle in this incident. They described it as a high-powered bolt-action rifle that was found in a wooded area near the university, presumably near the neighborhood where we saw the suspect run, along with those foot impressions rather, and other things on the scene there. So this is all going to aid in the effort investigators are making right now to figure out exactly who that person is and track him down. I want you to hear a little bit more from the folks who ran the news conference here earlier today. Listen.
We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we are confident in our abilities right now.
Now, I was able to ask a question of the gentleman you saw there at the podium just a few minutes ago, and I said, given the fact that you have this video footage and the fact that you have what you believe to be the weapon in this incident, do you think you know who the suspect is in this case specifically? And they wouldn't answer that question directly, but did say that they are going to be using technology, as you heard, to try to figure out who it is they've seen in this video. And they've started the process, Anna, of tracing that rifle, and that could give them some more answers or some new leads in terms of finding a suspect.
Danelle, why not release the video footage and images of the suspect, given this person is still at large?
Yeah, this individual could actually be watching this show right now. And if they understand that law enforcement is close to them, that may change their pattern of evasion. The fact that they have the rifle is going to yield so much data, as the previous commenter just said, not only where it was purchased, who purchased it, but there's physical data on that rifle. It could be fingerprints, DNA certainly, what we call touch DNA can be gleaned from that. And so there's a lot of information just on that one piece of evidence that they're going to want to go through.
They were able to track this person's movements. They believe they have a good look at this person.
A lot of conservatives are worried about this. And this guy is quitting for different reasons in part, but Tom Tillis, an outgoing Republican senator, is, like everybody else, obviously, sad that a father was taken far too young. He's younger than me. Like I'm 38, right? I can't imagine leaving my family, leaving my son. It's awful, right? And I think that's a human thing that a lot of people are expressing. But what Tom Tillis said was that if you look at the rhetoric you've been seeing, and you look at the incompetence of the Trump administration's investigation, how they haven't really found this person yet, how not that they just didn't find them, that they have already detained two different people and basically said, we got him, we got the guy. And it turns out in both cases it was not the guy or the gal or whoever, right? Like, you know what I mean? It really does indicate a lack of professionalism. But what Tillis is saying, and a lot of reasonable conservatives are saying, is, look, this mythology of like any high-profile Democrat celebrating today, saying, oh, it was good what happened to Charlie. We were happy it happened to him. It's a fiction. There are, people on the internet, and there have been people suggesting that, you're not going to use this moment to whitewash an extremist right-wing legacy. Fair enough. But the idea that Democrats are acting like Republicans did when Paul Pelosi was attacked, or when the legislators from Minnesota were attacked and killed, then there's no comparison. And Tom Tillis, one of the reasons he's quitting, because he's not running again for the Senate, is he's talked about the extremism under Trump. And the extremism under Trump is on full display right now, as Trump is trying to use this moment, without even knowing the motivations of the shooter, to justify further attacks on progressive Americans. Remember that.